Waiting on YouTube and the group. All right. Let's try this again. Sorry, folks. A couple minutes late. Hey, I see myself. Unbelievable. But we made it. Okay. Sorry, everyone. We are alive and live. Coming at you live. Hope you're well. We don't need to do the obligatory 10 minutes of rambling, but it's obligatory, right? So that implies we need to do something. So I see a few people watching. That's good. Sound off. Let me just give me some feedback here. I've been sitting looking at my lights and my screen and OBS Studio and Switchboard, trying to figure out if there's anyone out there, if this is the apocalypse. And so I'd love to know where you're coming in from. You know me, I'm in Colorado Springs, and it's actually a snow day, so that both kids are at home all day, and I'm totally not hiding in my office. But yeah, give me a comment, drop a comment in there wherever you're watching in from. Sorry if you had to refresh and do all this stuff to find me, but hopefully you made it to the right place. I do see a handful of you guys in here, which is great. I've got it pulled up. Hopefully it continues being pulled up. If you saw my message earlier, then good. You're in the right place. We're talking about email. And email is going to be, Randall's there. I know what temperature it is there. I don't need him to tell me. I'm sure he will, just because he loves bragging about Florida. But man, I get sticky in Florida. I like Colorado. It's nice and dry. So, you have your Florida. I'll take my Colorado weather. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Got the new microphone that we used last week. Barron's is in. Welcome. He's also got a sandwich. No, he needs a sandwich. Yeah, we all need sandwiches. John Patterson, welcome in, buddy. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're talking about email. I don't want to hold back on y'all. So we will get in there. Yeah, I know, John, you're in Colorado Springs as well. Sorry if I outed you. If you're secret writing bunker, you don't want people to know. Just kind of trying to ramble on a little bit so that we can let the people refresh the page and find me again. Because I know there's millions of people that wanted to hear about email, and specifically email marketing for authors. So that's what we're doing. Lynn made it there. Yep, I know. I'm sorry. That's why I wanted to wait, because it had some tech stuff, like always. But, we overcome and we overcame. Yeah, Randall says that I'm always sticky. I am always sticky. I run hot and sticky. I'm hot, sticky, sweet. What song was that? Def Leppard? Yeah, I think it is. Pour some sugar on me. All right, we will not be doing that. We will be talking about email. So let's just jump in so that you guys can start off with the goods here. I'm gonna minimize all this stuff. Give us a nice little intro, and welcome back. We are talking about email marketing, and specifically email marketing for authors. And when I use the phrase marketing in terms of email marketing, I want you to hear me. I'm not talking about promoting your books all the time. That is part of email marketing. But email marketing is really just engaging with people on an individualized basis through email. And of course, the long-term goal here is to build your author career, your fiction career, right? And so we call it marketing because it's not an activity you would normally be doing if you weren't trying to ultimately sell a lot of books and build a career. So it gets rolled into this, this phrase called email marketing. But really, I think the biggest failure that we make, or at least the biggest mistake or misstep that we make as an author, is hearing the phrase email marketing and thinking every time I send an email, I need to be marketing, right? I need to be talking about myself. I need to be promoting my books. That's not necessarily true. Okay, so we're going to talk about email marketing. We'll talk about specifically how I do it, how I don't do it, and give you some tools, give you some options, give you some frameworks, because I love me some frameworks. And if you got a question, you can drop it in the comments. I'll try to get it as we go. Otherwise, at the end, I'll ask you to kind of repost that thing so you can stick it in there and hope for the best. And hopefully I'll see it. I'm watching in the Facebook group, by the way. So if you are watching me on YouTube, thanks. You're in the wrong place. No, I love you. Stay there, but do join the group at some point, because that's where all the fun stuff happens, and that's where I'm going to give all the goods away. So we're talking about email marketing. Guys, I built my author career with email marketing. Plain and simple. Yeah, I do ads, and I would consider myself an expert in running Facebook ads, Amazon ads. I know how to do that well. I would consider myself a knowledge expert in social media, meaning I don't do things as well as I want to, and I'm working on that because I believe that social media is branding. It's a core component of growing organically online, but I don't do it as well as I need to be doing. So I am teaching myself as I teach you guys stuff. But email marketing, the third of my big marketing buckets, right? Email marketing, social media, advertising. Email marketing, I am absolutely an expert in, not by choice. I built author email, author.email, authoremail.com. Again, I wanted to save money. I was paying, I was going to be paying about like $300 a month at MailChimp. And I said, not going to do that. Not like I had a choice. I didn't have that kind of money. Certainly not every single month. And MailChimp at the time was moving into this, they got bought by Intuit a few years ago, for like $1 billion or something crazy. Which is weird because I knew Ben back when he started MailChimp, and, like, could have had an opportunity to go work with him. He made a lot of money. Oh, well, I'm here with you now. So yay. Anyway, I built author email because I thought that was ridiculous. I looked at MailChimp, and what they were offering was more a CRM, a customer relations management tool. So they had a CRM tool that happened to also send emails and autoresponders and all that. And I said, there's got to be an easier way. There's got to be a cheaper way. There were certainly cheaper providers, like at the time, MailerLite and Mad Mimi, I think is what it was called, were some options I was looking at. But I got into this whole email marketing world because I eventually decided I just want to send emails. I don't want any of that CRM stuff. I just want to send an email, and I don't want to be feature gated, which is limited to, well, you can send, individual campaigns, but you can't send autoresponders until you pay us more money. I hated that. So I built a platform called Author Email. Now, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Honestly, Randall, who's my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish it on you. I'm just kidding. I love you, man. It's really, really frustratingly difficult to build that. And he knows because he's got a team. They've integrated now. ScribeCount and Author Email are best buds. And they're getting better every day. So he knows all about it. But the point is, there are cheaper options. So as we go forward, you're going to hear me, kind of brag about Author Email a little bit. It ain't because I built it and because I'm the best programmer in the world. I'm certainly not. But it is way cheaper. It's like $10 a month, $11 a month, I think, for the minimum tier, which is all the features we have up to 10,000 subscribers a month. I think it's 9,999. And you can send as many times as you want. There's no limitation on how many emails you can send. That's just the number of unique subscribers you can have in our system. So we're starting there just because when you hear me say author email, I want you to know what I'm talking about, okay? But email marketing is the way that I built my career. Before author email happened, I was sending emails through MailChimp, and I knew from day one, even before, if you say day one is the day my first book, at the time The Golden Crystal, now The Atlantis Stone, was published, I was collecting email addresses before day one because I worked at a marketing company and I had a marketing background. I was building websites for people on the side. Email was always the gold standard for interaction and engagement. It was always the best way to communicate with individuals one-on-one, one at a time, whatever. It's a more personal approach. Obviously, you can use your little thingies and type an email and send it to one person, or you can send it to 1,000 people or 100,000 people. And if you do it well, it gives the impression that you're being personable. It's personalized. It's individual to that person. And the point is, people respond well to that. So email has always been that gold standard. And I knew that going into it. And I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just saying that for me, it was intuitive. I knew that, hey, before I even release this book, I'm going to get some email addresses. Yeah, it's going to be me, just to make sure the email works. Yeah, it's going to be my mom because, it's your mom. She got an email address. It's going to be your wife, like whatever. And I did all that stuff. But I also started trying to collect people's email addresses whom I had never met before. And I did that by putting a little thing on my website and saying, please sign up and I'll give you, some free stuff or whatever. I had no idea what the free stuff was going to be. But I knew from day one that email marketing was going to be important. And here we are over 10 years later, about 12, 13 years later. I've got a list of over 140,000 subscribers who want to hear from me, I think. And that is how I drive most of the revenue for my business. If I release a new book, guess what I do? I email about it multiple times. And then I send it again to people who didn't open it. And then again to people who didn't open it. So we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff, how to build it, how to go forward, how to approach it. I've written a few notes here, but a lot of this is going to be extemporaneous because Honestly, I feel like I can talk email all day long. So what I want you to do is, as I'm saying something that resonates with you, write it in the comments so other people can hear that again. If you have a question or need me to clarify something, write it in the comments so people can hear it again. And I'll find it at the end. I'll repeat it. I'll hopefully, we'll get your questions answered. But I want to talk about email because it's important. You got to be doing it. And I don't mean you got to go just get a MailChimp free account and then just, okay, that means I'm doing email marketing. No, 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 no. Email marketing is an activity, and it's a regular, consistent activity over time. That's what makes it marketing, okay? So first of all, email, it's not going to go anywhere. You've probably read, if you're like me and you're a nerd about email and you read articles about email, maybe you don't, but a lot of gurus, the online type digital marketer people, they're like, well, email's dead. Now it's all about Snapchat. Or email's dead. Now it's all about SMS, which is text messaging. Email's dead. Now it's all about TikTok private messaging or DMs or whatever. Guys, email is not dead. How do you sign up for all of those platforms? With your email address, right? Email is not going anywhere. I've seen a million deaths of email over the last, 20 years I've been online, or 30 years I've been online, whatever. I don't know how old I am anymore. Email's not going anywhere. It's going to change. There's going to be some structure changes underneath, but you're going to always be able to open up an email client and send an email to someone else. I don't believe that's going to go anywhere. The way we do it might be different. You might use your brain implant to send an AI message that says send this email, and then they'll handle it, and somebody else will get it in their brain implant, or the computer embedded in your tongues, if you remember the old Mad TV sketch. But the point is, email's not going anywhere. Okay. Second most important thing about email. By the way, these are three most important things about email. Email is cheap. Okay. Comparatively, it is the cheapest marketing tool we have. What do I mean by that? Well, if you need to create a book cover for marketing, it costs money. You got to go pay for it, right? If you want to set up that SMS campaign, it costs money. And usually it's like 10 times more than, at least more than sending one email. So sending one text message with something like Twilio, however you pronounce it, is about 10 times to 40 times more than sending that same thing as an email. Now, that doesn't mean SMS is bad. I am getting into it myself and starting to use text messages to reach out, do some specials, promos, all that. The point is, it's more expensive. If you want to do any kind of Facebook advertising, obviously, it's a little more expensive than email. Email's cheap, and my gut is that because it's cheap, it's going to be something that's always, that's always around. Going back to my first thing, it's not going anywhere. But it's cheap enough that we as authors, who are cheap as a breed, we don't have a lot of money to spend on this kind of stuff. If you are not spending a little bit of money on email marketing, you're missing out, guys. It's not enough to just have an email list and go use, some free PHP platform that sends mails on a mail server on a shared hosting site. It's not going to work. You're going to break stuff. You're going to get frustrated, and you're going to say email marketing doesn't work. Go pay a little bit of money, hint, author email, $10 a month. Build your platform the right way using tools that you can trust, because I'm behind it. Draft to Digital owns it, by the way, so there's a lot of good stuff in there that's coming down the pike for sure. Trust me. Go spend a little bit of money and build your email platform the right way, okay? And go spend a little bit more money and set up some ads to generate email subscribers, okay? We're not going to get into ads necessarily, but you need to spend a little bit of money because email's cheap. This is the cheapest marketing expenditure you're going to have as an author. If you're going to spend money, make sure you're spending it first in email. Got it? Cool. Third, email needs to be your bottom of funnel. Okay, so we're going to unpack that real quick because funnel talk is all the rage these days, but for a reason, because funnels are effectively everything that we do to sell books is a funnel. So if you send someone, your mom, whoever it is, to Amazon to go buy your book, there is a funnel process. How you told them to go there is the top of the funnel, or I should say how you found that person in the first place. If it's your mom, you didn't have a choice, is the top of the funnel. And then every step they take to eventually purchase your book is the funnel. So you basically take all these people in the top and you funnel down until you get a few of them or more to buy the book, okay? Email, I'm telling you, it needs to be the bottom of the funnel. So if you're sending people to Amazon to get your book, you might think getting them to purchase is the bottom of your funnel. It's not. Email needs to be the bottom of your funnel. You got the purchase, great, you're rich now, but you're not going to have anyone to buy that book again or buy your next book if you don't capture their email address. So beneath, if you picture the funnel that I'm talking about, buying the book is close to the bottom, but there's one more step that you need to be taking, which is get a call to action in your book, front and back. I've even tested in the middle, which is kind of funny. We can talk about that if you want. Asking people to get on your mailing list. I know it sounds like obvious stuff, guys, but think of all of this in terms of a funnel. You're marketing your stuff. You're throwing the net far and wide, right? That's the top of the funnel. You're using Facebook ads. Who can you find that likes James Rollins? Whatever it is, top of funnel. And then as you filter down, people like your comment and engage with your post, whatever, you get a little bit closer and you weed out some people who don't like James Rollins and don't click your post. And eventually you've got a group of people who are like, hey, yeah, I'll check out your book. And then that funnel gets even smaller because not everyone's going to buy your book. But the ones that check it out go, and some of them bounce. The ones that stay, they buy the book. And then underneath that, the people who buy your book, there's going to be a few people who want to sign up for your mailing list. They won't do it if there's no call to action in the book, into the book, whatever. If you don't have it set up on your website for them to be able to do that, they're not going to do it. Okay, so the bottom of your funnel should be email, not selling books. Hope that makes sense. All right, email won't go anywhere. First tenet. Email is cheap. Second tenet, so do it. Email should be the bottom of your funnel. Those are the three tenets. I know they don't really all make sense together, but those are the three major things I want you to hear, okay? Everyone can sign off now because that's it. I don't have if you get nothing else out of it, that's what I want you to hear, okay? So email, let's talk about how to actually do this. Let's say you've gone and made me happy and signed up for an author email account. We do not have a free tier, but we do have a free 30-day trial, by the way. So if you want to go check it out, import your list as a CSV file from wherever you are. We'll take all that. We'll help you out, get it in there. It works. It's great. So you can try it out for a month, and if it's not for you, go away. I don't care. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I make enough money with author email as it is. So let's talk about how to do this. So you've set up your email platform. Maybe it's MailChimp, MailerLite, whatever that is, author email, doesn't matter. You've got your list. Let's call it main, your main list. And that's where you're going to dump all the people that sign up for your stuff. Great. Don't overthink it. You don't have to start segmenting and building, individual lists for like little groups within that if you don't want to. Excuse me. You can if you want, but that's really kind of like down the road. I want you to just focus on, if you've never done any of this before, do not be overwhelmed by the system. Whatever system you're using will probably have enough features that you can easily get overwhelmed. Don't do that. Just set up a list. MailChimp, if I must, does a really good job at this. It kind of just walks you through, here's the list, set this up, boom, done. I don't like MailChimp now because they got rid of their autoresponders on one of the free tier, but anyway, and you need those. You have to have those. So, because we're going to talk about that. But you've set up your list. You've called it main or all the people or whatever. This is internal for you, so no one else is going to see it. And then you get a form, HTML form, that you can copy and paste onto your website. This is where you're going to send people, whatever that page is on your website. So if it's nickthacker.com is your website, /free or free-books. Both of those, I believe, go to my free books, and it's actually a book funnel page. And the reason I use BookFunnel is they have an integration with author email that Damon and I put together. And so I send them directly to BookFunnel. They get 3 free books in a nice little package on their landing page, so they get to maintain it. But once they click, they have to put their email address in to get those books. Okay, so it's instead of using the form, I just use BookFunnel. You can do that as well. But put that form on your website, make it live there somewhere. If it's WordPress, Shopify, whatever, there's little widgets you can use to interface. You can reach out to me and see if we can connect with them with author email if that's what you're using. If it's MailChimp, MailerLite, ConvertKit, they're usually big enough companies that they've got integrations with these places already. So install that MailChimp plugin on WordPress, for example, and then put a widget in your dashboard somewhere on the side of the left or right, wherever your widget side is. And you'll have a little form that says name, email address. And you can doctor it up as much as you want using CSS. Doesn't matter. But get that form on your website. Get it there. Second step is to offer a freebie for people to do that. Okay, it's not enough anymore to just say, hey, here's a form. Hope you fill it out. Nobody gets online wanting to fill out forms, right? So you need to incentivize people to fill that thing out. And authors figured out a long time ago, following in the footsteps of internet marketers, digital marketers, you got to give some crap away. And so we started giving away 1 book. We started giving away 2 books. I started by giving away all 3 books. How many books had I published? 3. I gave them all away for free. I also sold them at the same time through Kindle Unlimited, which is against the terms of service. I don't recommend it, but that's what I did. The point is, I wanted to have the best freebie offer on the planet. At the time, authors were giving away a chapter, maybe a whole book if they were like really, 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 whatever, wanting to incentivize. I said, I'm going to give away all 3 of these things I've written because I really want that email address. So consider giving away more than you think is necessary, because there's a lot of authors like me now giving away multiple books, whole books, full-length thrillers for free. Because why? It's not free, right? We're asking for their email address, which is gold. Okay, so it's not a free exchange. Don't think you're giving something away. You're getting a lot in return by getting that email address. There's some steps to take to make, hey, maybe send that first. It's not usually called an autoresponder, but it's the welcome email. It's even before the autoresponder. But as soon as they sign up for that mailing list and click subscribe, you can have whatever service you're using can generate that welcome email to them. Make sure in that welcome email it says, here's a link to your free books. Also, make sure you whitelist or white label this email address. Okay, and it depends on how the service is set up to do that. But go Google how to do that. Put a note in there and tell your people, because they're old and they don't like the internet. They like books, but they don't know how to get them. It's a whole thing. Give them very clear instructions on how to white label to make sure that they can hear from you. Okay, because you're going to want them to get all that autoresponder stuff that you spend so much time crafting after this step. So that's step 2. Then you need to drop that call to action in your book. It can be as simple as, hey, I want to give you another free book. Go sign up here and put your link in there. You put it at the beginning of a book. They haven't had the experience of reading the whole book yet. So don't be like, hey, I hope you liked my whole book. Just say something like, you're about to read something that's amazing. I want to give you something for free. Even before you do that, go sign up here. And then they get through the whole book. And then at the very end, before it says the end, maybe, I don't know, right at the end, it says, you just read my whole book. I appreciate you getting to the end. Before the author's note and the copyright, all the crap that comes after, I really want you to check this out. I'm going to give you 3 free books or whatever your freebie is. Again, drop that link in there. So that's it. That's your whole strategy for getting people on the list. When you get more advanced, when you get more, fun, you can start doing ads and sending people to that call to action, to that page. You can, then you have to set up, graphics and use your book covers and all that. You can put a link on your homepage, on the hero graphic on the very top is what we call that. And you can say, hey, I got 3 free books. Go sign up here and have that whole image be clickable. You can do all sorts of stuff to market that freebie offer. But if you, at the very least, you got 1 book out, give that book away for free. Maybe even additional, like I'll give you a little behind the scenes. I'll give you the unedited version. I don't know, whatever it is. Put together a cool offer and then go drop that call to action in at least 2 places in the actual book content. Okay? This is really, really important. I see a lot of authors not doing this. I read, I'll get a new book and I'll download, and I want to hear from that author. And I don't see anything before I start the book. It just jumps into chapter 1. Some of it is Kindle. They try to start you where the prologue is or where the chapter 1 is. But I get a lot of books from BookFunnel as well. And so I can go through at my own pace, and I don't see that in there. So do that at the very least. All right. So we got our email thing set up, our email flow set up, at least on how to capture those leads. Leads is an email address in marketing speak. There are 4 kinds of emails that we're going to be sending. Okay. And we'll talk about how often to do this stuff after this, but I'm going to give you these four ways because the nomenclature, the words, the verbiage that may change, the lingo may change depending on which platform you use, but I'm going to describe them so you can understand when you go over here, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? So for example, a platform like Klaviyo, which is really popular because it integrates super well with Shopify, among other stores, they use autoresponders and they call them flows. Same thing. Okay. So I call them autoresponders. That's the first kind of email that you're going to be sending. Some people call them flows, or I've heard them called something else. I can't remember. But anyway, some people confusingly call them a campaign, which a lot of times is described as a one-off email. It's the second type. We'll get into that. So an autoresponder, very simply, is something that used to be set up when, like an out-of-office reply. You'd set up an Outlook, so you leave for vacation. You'd be like, I'm going to go out. We've co-opted this name in email marketing, and now it refers to a series of emails that is triggered by events, by an event or multiple events. And so an autoresponder campaign, because if you use the term campaign, it sort of implies multiple emails. Like I said, it's confusing. But autoresponders in general will start with somebody signing up for the mailing list. So you give them that freebie offer. They get the welcome email, which isn't part of the autoresponder sequence necessarily. And then you start emailing them automatically with your platform. So on maybe the second day, hey, did you get the link? Did you get the freebie offer that I sent you? And then maybe 3 days later, hey, how are you enjoying the books? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think, right? Day 5. I know. So you're sending an email the same day, the next day, then 3 days later, then 5 days. It seems like a lot of email, but we'll talk about why it's not. Day 5, maybe you say, hey, did you finish any of those books? One of the books? I don't know how fast you read, but let me know if you're still working on it. I'd love to hear from you. And then maybe 7 days later, a week into it, you say, hey, what are you currently reading? If you're not reading my stuff, I'd love to, engage with you and don't say engage with you, but, I'd love to hear from you and discover a new author, perhaps. A great way to do that. So your autoresponder sequence just goes automatically based on the date that they sign up. So everybody who comes on your mailing list will get the same emails, but at different times, depending on when they signed up. And you don't have to do anything. You just write these things one time and you let them run forever. Very, very powerful. And that is the core reason why most people use an email service provider, because you cannot do this with something like Outlook. It doesn't let you. It's not the inbox tool like Outlook. It's actually your ISP, your internet service provider, will not allow bulk email to go out. And everyone's different. Mine here is Comcast, Xfinity, and it's 200 basically. If I send 200 in an hour or like half an hour time, it's like 25 minutes or something. They'll shut me down. They'll say, hey, no more email till like 4 hours from now. So you can't bulk email from your own email, your personal email address, unless that personal email address is also set up at an email service provider. So we're not going to get into the technical details of that. You can have I use nick@nickthacker.com. That's my email address. I can send personal emails through Mac Mail, just normal. You probably emailed me before. But I can also use that email address through my author email account, my email service provider. So, but that's why we want to do bulk email through an email service provider or ESP. Okay. So autoresponders is the first one, and you can have that autoresponder campaign or autoresponder sequence. That's what they call them, sequences. You can have that sequence going forever. You can just constantly add emails to the end of it. So 3 years after sign up, you get this email. Now, I usually wouldn't recommend a sequence longer than a year because you start to get a lot of fall off. And so it gets to be less, it's like marginally, more effective to do longer. What I mean is, if you have an email every week for a month and then every month, maybe let's say bi-monthly, so 2 times a month for a year, that's how many emails? 24, 20, 28 at least. So you're sending 30 emails or so for that first year. You have to write all those emails and you have to schedule all those emails. And if you just keep going, if you have 60 emails for 2 years, what's going to happen is your attrition rate, right? So people that unsubscribe, or your bounce rate will go higher and higher, and the longer the people are on the list. It just happens. People die, people leave, people decide they don't like you anymore, whatever, and they'll unsubscribe. So by the time you've written 60 emails, you may have 5 people out of 1,000 that ever get to the end. And so it's not really worth putting all that effort into longer and longer autoresponder sequence when you can do one of the second types of email, which is campaigns or single sends or in email. Some platforms just call them a single email. So you have your flow, your sequence, your autoresponder that are all pre-scheduled. You have to do all the work up front, but then that's it. The next type is called a campaign. And I split these into 2 different categories of email. You have non-promo campaigns, non-promotional single emails, and you have promotional campaigns. Okay, so the vast majority of what, I shouldn't say the vast majority, but the majority of what most authors need to be doing is non-promo campaigns. And this is very simple. It's just a weekly update. You send every Monday or every Friday, whatever it is. Here's what I've done. Here's what I'm doing. I'm really bad at this because I blew everything up earlier 2 years ago, and I was like, I'm going to rebuild all this, and I just never got around to it because now I have things like BookCareerInAYear and Draft to Digital that I got to do it for. My personal stuff is lacking, but the goal was always to have a Monday update. So here's what I'm writing currently. Here's how it's going. Here's where I am because I was traveling a lot. Here's a picture of my dog, my kid, my tortoise, whatever the thing is. Readers love this because you're not trying to sell them something. You're not being overt about your marketing. You're not marketing at all, really. But it is part of email marketing because you're engaging with that person. You're being an individual who's talking to another individual. Even though you're broadcasting it out, that's another term. They call them broadcast emails. Even though you're broadcasting this out, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like if you write it well, it feels like you're talking to one person. You've heard me say this before. In order to scale up, you got to scale down. So this is the mindset shift. If you are just broadcasting out to a million people, you could easily sound like, hey, million people, thanks for being my lovely readers. Instead of, if you want to scale up, you got to scale down. You want to talk to one person at a time by going, hey, reader. Hey, first name. Don't say first name, but there's the tags you can add in to have that turn into their actual first name. Make it personal, make it individual, make it singular, not plural. Okay. These are non-promotional campaigns. They're single sense. You sit down at some point during your week and you schedule it for sometime in the future or right now, but it's one email. Okay. And you send it to everyone who's currently subscribed and they all get it at the same time. That's the difference between campaign, single sends, broadcasts, and autoresponders, flows, and sequences. All right. Promotional campaigns. I like to try it anyway, following the 80-20 rule, which is Pareto principle, right? So 20% of your results, 20% of your effort will lead to 80% of your results, 20% of your clients lead to 80% of your income, 20% of your promotional emails lead to 80% of your income. So I like sending promotional campaigns like this. I think 20% of my overall emailing should be promotions. No, I need to send that update email. I need to be able to tell people, hey, here's how things are going. Here's how I want to be engaging. I want to, individual. And then they're much more open to receiving that promotional email from you. That's how you keep the leads warm in marketing speak. That's how you keep people engaged, right? You keep them updated, you keep them engaged, you talk to them about what they're reading, you ask questions. These are all non-promotional campaigns. And then every now and then you trickle in, hey, I'm selling you this. Hey, I want you to buy this. Hey, go check this out. Now, to be fair, in all of the emails you send, all four of the categories, and we'll talk about the fourth one in a second, I believe you should have a call to action. But that call to action doesn't have to be buy my book. It could be go check out my friend's book with the newsletter swap, right? It could be go sign up for this segment of my mailing list if you want to hear about my Kickstarter progress, whatever it is. Or it could be, let me know what you're reading. That's a call to action because you're calling them to take action, which is respond to me. Let me know what you're doing. Got it? So every email has a call to action, although not every call to action has to be you selling a book. When you in email service provider land, transactional emails are things like if they went to your website and bought a book, that transaction took place and you send an email to them that says, hey, thanks for the purchase. Here's how you get the book. That's transactional and it doesn't count toward your quota of 20% to 80%, if you will. It has to happen, basically. It's good communication policy to send someone an email when they purchase something from you, or that first email they get when they sign up for your mailing list. That's transactional. And it doesn't really matter that the content is more markety. Like you could say, hey, here's a 10% off coupon, and that's marketing. It's called a transactional email because it happens after or during or before a transaction. Got it? Okay. So when you sign up for any online thing, they send you an email. That's a transactional email. Then over the time, you're on their list, they send you an email. Those are marketing emails. Okay, so there's three kinds of marketing emails: the autoresponders, the campaigns, which are non-promotional and promotional, and then transactional emails are the fourth kind. You don't have to worry about those because they're kind of automatically set up. When you do something like Shopify, it's going to send an email for you. So I want to go back to, I kind of alluded to this. How often do you send email? My answer is more than you probably think you should. Okay. Authors, and I've spoken about this at people freak out. You think you're spamming people by sending an email every day during a launch. But guess what? Go sign up for any other launch of any other thing, and you're going to get an email at least once a day. Sometimes these like 72-hour, offers close or whatever, they'll send you an email 3 times in a day. And yeah, they can get annoying if you didn't actually want to hear from that person. But you need to remember that the people that sign up for your mailing list wanted to hear from you. And that includes when you release a new book, okay? If you're treating them well and you're building that engagement properly, and it does take a long time and it's a slow process, then you do have permission to email them as much as you see fit. They're always welcome to unsubscribe. But let me tell you a secret. People are more likely to just archive or delete the email than they are to completely unsubscribe. Why is that? Well, think about any email you get. Think about an email you get from me. If you're not subscribed to me, go sign up to my mailing list. I will send you an email, and up at the top of your inbox, wherever you check email, there's probably like a little trash can icon or like a recycle bin icon. If you don't want to hear from me because you're on vacation, You're just not, you don't have any money. You don't want to buy any book. I don't threaten me with a new book, Nick. You're just going to delete that email. You're just going to archive that email. You're going to read it, maybe even not read it, and you're just going to delete it. You have to scroll all the way down the email, or read the email at least, to find the unsubscribe link. And it has to be an egregious enough offense that you want to unsubscribe in the first place. So simply sending an email to somebody multiple times a day isn't going to trigger that egregious. It's just going to make people want to delete the email. So it's more likely that people will simply delete or archive your email than they will unsubscribe. So don't be afraid you're going to get a huge unsubscribe rate if you send multiple times a day during a launch, toward the end of a launch. Don't do it don't do 5 emails a day for a week. That's probably too much. But if you release a book on day 1, you can say, hey, here's a new book. Day 2, did you see the book? Day 3, here's what the book's about. Like, you can change your content every time, and you should, so that you're hitting different psychological trigger points. Like, hey, here's the logical reason why you should buy my book. It's on sale. Second, hey, here's the emotional reason you should buy my book. You like this kind of content. Here's a snippet. Here's a sample. Then the third one, you pull those heartstrings. I wanted to write characters a little bit better, and I feel like I've really captured something cool in this book, and I'd love for you to check it out. By the way, it's on sale. You can do that. So every single day you're hitting a different, you're writing a different email. And then on day 5, maybe you say, I'm going to email you multiple times today, but I just want you to know there's a bonus offer with this that I haven't revealed yet. Stay tuned. And then the next one you say, here's the bonus. If you buy my email and send me buy my book and send me the receipt, I'll give you an audiobook for free. And then the third email, did you see the audiobook sale? You only have 5 hours left. You can get more and more hyped up. And this is how we do marketing in email. This is it. That's all you do. And it's more likely, like I said, if people just don't want to hear from you, they're going to delete the email. They're going to archive the email. They're not going to go blow it up nuclear style and call it spam and unsubscribe. That said, yeah, you're going to get some unsubscribes all the time, and you're going to get some spam all the time, and that complaints. That happens. That's just part of email marketing. Don't think that sending too many emails is going to cause you to become spam. It's such a weird, squishy word. Like spam, first of all, it's a type of fake meat packaged in a little tin, right? And it tastes terrible. It's not a real thing. Like, it really, just the definition is just unsolicited email that you didn't ask for. Technically, everyone who's signed up for your mailing list wants to hear from you because they wanted to get that freebie offer. Now, maybe you have a freebie seeker who doesn't agree with that. They're like, I never signed up for that. They're wrong. Okay. They did sign up for it because you didn't just go out and buy a mailing list from some, corporate overlord thing. The point is, it's more likely someone will archive or delete your email than unsubscribe from it completely. So don't be afraid to send more email than you think you probably should. I covered a lot. That was probably pretty fast too. Yeah, it's like 10 whole minutes left. So I'm going to pause here. If there's any questions, if not, we can jump off early, but it's up to you. I just wanted to give you that. I hope that serves you when you start setting up email. Don't overthink it. Keep it very simple. Figure out what platform you can use that you can afford, and check the growth of that. Because if you're going to suddenly get 1,000 subscribers, make sure you're not going to triple how much you have to spend, because it gets cost ineffective very quickly. Of course, another call out to Author Email, which is owned by Drafted Digital. Good people. I work for them, and it's a great company. I built it with my friend Kevin, and it's awesome. It's for authors by authors, right? Third, email isn't going to go anywhere. It's cheap. You should be doing it. It is the backbone of my entire career. It's how I built my success. And so I'm always going to be doing email, and I think you should too. Fourth, 4 kinds of email. Autoresponders, you got to set those up. That is how you work without actually actively doing work, right? That's the secret. You get more people into that funnel, they sign up, and the autoresponders will do it for you. If you never wrote another email, you still have something going out to these people, which is really, really powerful. Your 4 kinds are autoresponders or sequences or flows, and then you have campaigns, which is the other big kind. And I split those up into 2: non-promotional campaigns and promotional campaigns. You should probably be doing about 20% promotional stuff of your own books, because that's how you make money. You got to be doing that. Don't be afraid of that. And then, but 80% of it should be talking about other people or talking about yourself, but not trying to sell people on stuff, asking questions, building that engagement. And then finally, just be consistent. Don't be afraid to email more often than you think is really possible. I assure you, it's probably not the case. You can email more than you think you can get away with. All right. Hope that helps. Yeah. Randall says I need a flow sheet with breaks for drinks. there's a lot to it, but again, don't overcomplicate it. I mean, I know you're pretty set up, Randall, with all this stuff. But yeah, if you're new, if you haven't done this before, you've heard me just say a lot of words at you. Go back and listen to this. Go slow. There's a lot in here to unpack, but that's really it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of magical stuff happening. The secret of success isn't some, like crazy segmentation plan. Klaviyo flows, they do this like, wow, if this happens, this happens. That's all transactional stuff for the most part. Like I've set up a WooCommerce website with funnel kits and then abandons. They get an email, transactional email that says, hey, you left some stuff in your cart. Click here and go, get it. So I recapture some of those sales that way. I re-engage. I have re-engagement campaigns or autoresponder sequences. Again, those words get a little confusing sometimes. From the same system, we'll send out after 3 months if they haven't done anything. I'll say, hey, I miss you. You want to go buy a book? Here's a coupon. I have things that auto-generate coupon codes. But all these are like more advanced things that you can set up once you have an online store, direct sales, all that, yada, yada, yada. So I hope that helps. I don't see any questions here. It looks like people are quickly abandoning ship. That's fine. I love you too. But if you do have a question, pop it in there. I'm going to cut the feed and try to get back and answer questions offline so I can take a little bit of a break. But I hope this helps. Let me where's my little there? Where's my thing? I don't even know where switchboard is. That's weird. I don't know how to turn off the feed. All right, I'm going to be there. It is. I'm going to be talking to you all day long. No, I'm just kidding. I hope this helps. Thanks so much for being here, and we will see you next week.